So John's going to talk to us about gift shops.
Yeah, and theme to all this is this is kind of my not my first rodeo, but my first rodeo, in that I've worked at a lot of places that have had gift shops, but I've never run one myself. So I'm always interested in questions, comments, and suggestions. But I do have some merchandise to share with you. I have this really cool cap that I got at Stonehenge when I was there last, and of course. When I went out to the Lowell Observatory, I have not been to the Lowell Observatory. We got the trustee to come out here and give us a talk, and he had these great Pluto caps for us to wear, and it says Lowell Observatory on the side. That's really neat. And then what else I got? Oh, I got all kinds of stuff. I got the Mars rover. I got the old 3D slide sets. I got this came from Greenwich Observatory. This is just the bag that the stuff came in. There's sorts of star puzzles, and of course then you got notebooks. That's from our college, and we've got CDs. This one's from John Siri, and of course DVDs on electromagnetism and so on. And we've got eclipse glasses. I'm not sure I want to sell these because they kind of make me scared. I want to be there to supervise when we do. We got playing cards, we got blotters, we have this and that. We've got one of those little desk pad coaster things, and coffee mugs. There's my Star Trek mug. There's this is from back when the Montreal Planetarium was called the Dow Planetarium. Got that in 2000 at the IPS conference. Got the Living Museum mug from when I worked there back in the 80s, 90s. Oh, got there's Plattsburgh State there. So this is merchandise. This is a great way to advertise your place. And so on. And what I'm going to talk about mostly are these trading cards, which we print by the gazillions because it's pretty cheap. So having said all that, let me share screen with my PowerPoint. Let's see, how do I do this? I click on the PowerPoint, and now I can't see that. I go to share screen. Thank you. And I go to, here we are. And let's do perform. Hello, perform. There we are. So, well, this is my facility. It's a Spitz 512 instrument with a 12-meter or 40-foot dome. The instrument was installed when the Planetarium Theater was built in 1992-93, and I was hired shortly after they built it. So I am so far the first and the only planetarium director for Indian River State College. Indian River State College here on the Treasure Coast of Florida. It's about midway between Cape Canaveral and West Palm Beach, right on the coast, and called the Treasure Coast because in 1715, a whole bunch of galleons, about 10 or 11 of them, went down in a hurricane, and it was carrying a lot of silver plates, so sometimes it's called the Plate Fleet. And that was treasure that didn't quite get a chance to make its way back to Spain. So even now, and just about a week or so ago, somebody found a real on the beach. And that's kind of neat to think that the treasure is still there and still washing up to shore from time to time. Now, after having said all that, I have to say that I've been running the planetarium for almost 28 years now, and we serve a nice, wide, diverse audience. We have, and I keep saying we, which is stupid because there is no we, it's me. I don't have a staff. I am the planetarium, as they say. So let's see, we are going to get a gift shop, however. So as if I don't have enough exciting things going on in my life, we're going to try to put in a small gift shop. And the nice thing is we've got bookstores here at the campus, which do a fabulous job, and they have offered to help me with this. I did this presentation for SEPA several days ago, and someone said, well, how do you get the gift shop to not compete with you? And I said, well, the nice thing is the gift shop is also run by the college. You wouldn't find that in our food services. That's a contract on the outside. So the gift shop is in our corner. We like that. The box office manager and the theater people are going to help us out too, particularly with staffing of personnel, which means a lot to me. So we thought we'd try to operate the gift shop just before and just after shows, public and private and so on. So we're going to do a soft opening because we're not going to really make a big splash. There won't be a news release or anything of that effect. It's just when we have our first open house this season on Saturday, September 18, we'll just have a few things for sale out there. that people can purchase and take home and think of us when they do that, I think. Good idea. Soft opening means I don't have to worry about having enough critical mass to make it like, oh, I'm glad we came out for this. Or as opposed to, gee, there's hardly anything here. Why did I come all the way out here? So why do we want a gift shop? This is a most excellent question. Anybody recognize the clip? This is from the Marx Brothers movie, The Big Store. See, The Big Store. See, it makes sense, I guess. Okay. Well, of course, we want the money. Money is very important. Because why? Because the budget I have to work with to do maintenance and repair and to purchase any new programming has to come from revenue that I generate from planetarium show sales and anything else we do in the planetarium. And you think, well, gosh, you must be swimming in money with all those school groups coming, and not so much. And I'll tell you why that is so in just a moment. So money is a good reason to do it. Yeah, I think you all agree. Secondly, we want to promote the place. All that merchandise with our names on it, it's going to get the name out there so that people don't come up and say, gee, I didn't know we had a planetarium here. You've been here 30 years and you didn't know we had a planetarium all that time. Yes, I'm afraid so. So we'd like people to know that we're here. We want to raise our profile. Third, we want to recruit. Every time I have an astronomy college class, I say to the students, raise your hands if you have been here on a field trip when you were a kid back in grade school. And over half the hands go up. And then I say, of course, you remember who gave you the show? It was me. It's always going to be me. So there you have it. And that's nice. I mean, we haven't done any kind of formal surveys, but I dare say that between the planetarium school show field trip programs and the offerings that are put out by the fine arts department with the plays and concerts and dance recitals and things like that, we bring in a lot of interest from the community, so that when a kid gets through saying, hey, I had a great time in that planetarium as a kid, maybe I can take an astronomy class out there at the college now that I'm all grown up. And so they do, and so that's why we want to recruit, and having gift shop will help us to recruit even more. Education, of course, I don't want to put a bunch of junk in the gift shop that will sell money, make money, but is just worthless from an educational viewpoint. I want stuff that's got, like, information on it and facts and ideas, things like that are pertain to astronomy and to science education in particular. Quality, of course, we want the stuff to be good. I've been looking into the possibility of having some of our local artisans contribute, and they make some very fine things down here in Florida. And I have a couple of people in the astronomy club who have done wonderful work with photography, and making prints and posters and postcards and so on with their work would just be outstanding. And you'll see some examples of that when I get to the trading cards. And so we want the stuff to be good quality, not junk. And then finally, posterity. This is how we were remembered. I mean, I have memorabilia in here from the old Hayden Planetarium in New York that it just feels good to have that kind of tradition behind it. So those are, I think, some pretty good reasons for doing it. And the college agrees because we're finally getting some support to do it. Hooray. So here is the Planetarium Theater. Here I am talking to a group of theater camp kids. You can see we've got 75 seats in here, 74 fixed seats actually, and I've got room for about 3 wheelchair spaces. 75 seats if you count the control booth chair. We have been open since January of 2021. Now, we are now allowed to bring in the full 75 complement, but up until about June, we were working at 25 people instead of 75 in that theater with the COVID thing and so on. But since then, that has been relaxed, and we don't anticipate doing any more restrictions as we move into the new year, the new season. So these kids are asking questions. This is one of our audiences. Who is the audience? Well, the public, of course. And for them, we charge a big $5 a ticket for a show. So that's some revenue there. K through 12 school groups. We do not charge for our school field trip programs. And it was kind of hard for me to accept, having come from Virginia Living Museum, where we were charging, I think, about $300 a show for a 45-minute survey program back in 1993. Here we are almost 30 years later, and We've never charged any of the school groups. That's K through 12 for the 4-county area that's served by the college. So that's St. Lucie County, Martin County, Indian River County, and Okeechobee counties. They all come for free. That's public schools, private schools, and also homeschools. They don't pay a thing. They got to pay for the bus. We don't do that, but the rest of it is free. And the reasoning for that is that the Science Center, the Brinkley Science Center here, and the Hallstrom Planetarium were constructed back in '93 with PICO funds. That was state funds that allowed for the construction of the building. And so for that reason, the president of the board and I finally have all agreed that we will not charge for these programs. I'm glad we do, except I don't get any money for doing field trips. And so that means I really have to make sure I bring as much as I can so that I can keep the 512 system operational and the digital full sky system working and all the rest. So, and of course, the third audience, other than VIPs, would be college students, and we don't charge for them either. Although we do hope to recruit and train others in how to operate planetariums. So where are we going to put the gift shop? Well, we've got the theater, and they really didn't think about a gift shop or even a ticket sales desk. At the present moment, and for the last 27 years, if somebody wanted to buy a ticket for a planetarium show on a weekend, and again, it's just me, so I don't do shows, public shows every day or even every weekend, just about every second or third weekend. So maybe 2, maybe 3 weekends in a month, usually about 2 weekends a month on select dates. And they'll be on a Friday night. I'll do 2 shows on a Friday night, 2 regular shows on a Saturday afternoon, and we'll do a kids show on Saturday morning. That's it. But there's no ticket sales. So you have to go over to the box office, which is not too far. It's about maybe a 2-minute walk. But then again, I'm dealing with a demographic where most of the audience is even older than I am. And keep in mind, I saw Sputnik. So that means that walking that distance and then back again, it gets to be a pain. So it would be nice if we could have ticket sales at the theater. And I'm hopeful that with the gift shop opening, we'll be able to sell tickets here too. And that will make things run a little bit more smoothly. Here is the floor plan of the planetarium, beautifully drawn by me, myself, I might add. Here we'll label it. There's our compass directions. And just like that, the theater that was shown, it was at Ken's presentation, I think. Yeah, Ken was talking about that. The big open corridors all around there are there. The theater, of course, is in the middle. And then you've got entrance and egress to the left and to the right. And then where you see the word office, that didn't used to be an office. That was where I'm talking to you from you now. And this is the office, and that behind me, this wall was put in so that we made a room out of part of the corridor. And we want to do the same thing on the other side, so we can put the gift shop over there. Ultimately, that's the plan, although my dean says, yeah, if we can't get that built in time, your office is going to become the gift shop. And I'm thinking, okay. You have to have plans, A, B, and C, and D, and so on. A is where it happens the way I want it to. I guess plan B is my office becomes planetarium, and plan C is where we sell things out in the lobby. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in the alphabet yet. So here is the court. Wait, this is not the corridor. Here's the corridor. And as you can see, it's jam-packed full of stuff because I've been here for a couple of decades, 3 decades now, and I've managed to fill it with a lot of wonderful stuff. So we're clearing all that out to make room for the gift shop. Here is the room I'm talking about that we want, or the part of the court I want to talk about that we're going to be using. You can see still some clutter in there, but we're getting all that cleared out too. Here is the view of my office from where the gift shop will be. And you can see, okay, let's get a little better look there. So here's another view. You can see where the rug ends there. So the place is already carpeted, and that's where the rug ends, is where we'd like to put up a partition wall like they did to make my office on the other side of the vestibule. And that would make us a nice kind of a tidy small gift shop room. We'd like to use that a lot. We've got, here's another view. If you look, there's a rock propping open the door, and behind it is a bag of kitty litter, which I had to open once. I've been doing laser shows in Virginia for so many years. We always had to have kitty litter on hand for when somebody got a little too carried away with the laser show. But I don't do laser shows here, so that's revenue we won't be getting either. but I haven't had to use the kitty litter either too. So there's a plus side to it. Here is the stairwell, which I don't hardly use anymore because we don't have our panorama projectors up there anymore. And so we have it neatly blocked off with chairs and other clutter, which we get that rid of. There you can see the edge of the wall, and you can see there is the dome. If you look on to the right of the image, you'll see the perforated dome. So you can see I have to do something about a light leak, because light leak is going to leak right out through there. I can't have that place open with those fluorescents going, or even incandescents with that big hole there where I need to have a wall. So I've got to have a wall, or I can only operate the gift shop and ticket sales when there's not any show going on in the theater, because it will spoil the dark for sure. So here's the ceiling. I kind of like the ceiling. We might want to hang things from there. I might redo the lighting. I don't know. But I figured I don't even need to put in a false ceiling if I can just wall off that big gap there. And that would be to do it. So just beyond that fluorescent light, just put in a big old wall there, or a curtain. I guess that's plan C, is the curtain, and plan D is selling things out in the lobby at a little table. But that's kind of the plan. So again, we're talking about a soft opening in September. So I've got about a month and a couple of weeks to work with here. I need to get stuff. If I'm going to sell things, I need to get things to sell. Of course, that's interesting because I don't really have anything stubbed out in the fiscal year 21-22 budget because we didn't think we were going to do this back in September, and we had other things like COVID to worry about. So I have to be very resourceful in where I find a way to buy stuff, merchandise to put in the thing. So let's get into my final point. So I was told, because this is a soft opening and we are going to be doing it, it's very, very, very much incipient, don't you know, that we just limit ourselves rather than all the merchandise I could show you or we're just going to do like a half a dozen type items. So the stuff that has our name on it, that's great advertising. Hats off to Mayborn Planetarium in Texas and Killeen. Great mug. I still have it. I still use it. I love that mug. Good people. Good mug. So that's great. We want to sell educational things. Planispheres. This one is by David Chandler, and it's built for our latitude. We're at 27.5 degrees north here in Fort Pierce, Florida, and so that works out just right. I like the planispheres. They're really nice. And if you're familiar with the Chandler thing, on the other side has got a non-Mercatored view of the southern sky. This is just the northern part of the chart. Books, of course. Why not sell my lovely Astronomer's Book of Days and Nights, my calendar on events of the sky? Sure. And other books too, and CDs and DVDs, things that will teach education. Of course, then there's the novelty food items, the bottled water. Got the planetarium name on it, of course, and there's astronaut ice cream, and let's not forget space shuttle gummies. Great. I don't know that I really want to. Well, I could probably handle picking up gummies in the theater. The ice cream, I don't know. I have to think about that. But these are some things we want to have, and of course, then the miscellaneous things like rulers, pens, pencils with our name on it, jewelry, ties, knickknacks, and all kinds of other trinkets. All those kind of things. And again, very nice and tasteful and quality. Oh, and finally, the things that I really can do without worrying about investing a lot of money, which is prints, posters, and trading cards, offer them at low price, make them educational, promotional. And some members of the club have also indicated they would just like to maybe do something like you do with a secondhand shop where they have things that they will sell, and we get a cut of what they sell. And that way, that doesn't cost us anything at all. So trading cards is good. I want to talk about the fact that we have a print shop at the college, which is amazingly amazing to have a really good print shop. They do our brochures, they do our booklets, they do my activity lab manuals. They do a lot, and they're really, really, really good. So we want to take advantage of that. And I only have to pay for that out of my budget, and I can afford it because they're not going to charge me an arm and a leg for it. So we could do activity books, we could do small prints of things in outer space, we can do postcards and trading cards. Trading cards. So far, I have been working a little bit here and there to make up sets of trading cards on these 4 areas. So solar system, so I've got everything in there. I've got Jupiter and Saturn and the Earth and the Moon and comets and asteroids and the Sun and Pluto. even Pluto, which has a special place in our heart, as Ed Crump would say. And we've got deep space collections. And I'm using a lot of images, not Hubble images necessarily. I try to use a lot of the local astronomy club work. Again, these are excellent people who do excellent photography. So we've got that set. We've got constellations that I've worked on, and finally astronomers. So those are the 4 that I've submitted to the gift shop, to the print shop, to the print shop, and they'll be ready by the end of August. And because we can do 9 on a sheet of cardstock, I can make a lot of them for not much money. I'm going to add space exploration set and a telescopes and observatory set later on when I have some time. So just to talk to you about trading cards, you know that they've been around for a while. Topps came up with them, and they used to sell tobacco and so on, and that didn't. They kind of went out. That didn't work so well. So they turned over to making bubble gum and other things, and the Topps people were doing well. And they really hit their stride in the 50s with baseball trading cards, and they'd have the picture of the player on the front with a facsimile of the signature. They'd have the date. They'd have lots of things like that. And then his record on the back side of the trading card. So Topps did more than just baseball and other sports. They did outer space series like this. Sputnik one, I remember this card from when I was a kid. Actually, my brother had a whole set of these outer space cards. They were actually playing card size. And I remember Sputnik, which was pretty awesome because I think it was Sputnik 3, the ones with the Sputnik 3, because it went up in 58 and it was in the summertime, and my dad pointed out to me, I was all like 4 years old at the time. So I remember that. And this card just always made me want to look into outer space. And so I think that's just cool. So that's neat. Here is something from a tobacco company. I was talking about that earlier. This is one on Galileo. So they did a whole series of scientists. And this is pretty cool. It's a nice long paragraph. I might want to go with the bullets instead, because who reads paragraphs anymore, right? If you work your way on down toward the bottom, where does it say that? Oh, last sentence and last phrase, and gave his sight for his work. Now, you and I and everybody who study this know that's stuff and nonsense. He did not lose his eyes from staring at the sun through a telescope. He was much smarter than that. Like Father Scheiner, he was using projection methods. And of course, his blindness was due, I'm told, from glaucoma and cataracts. And of course, it was a very gradual thing. It didn't happen immediately, as you might expect with burning your eyes out with the sun. So this is the card I've come up with for this, the front picture there. Where did I get that picture? Turns out, if you go to wikimedia.com, Wikimedia images, and they've got just all kinds of things. So through the Creative Commons, they've got that, and it's in the public domain. Great image of Galileo. So here are the facts I came up with, including the birth and death dates and a few comments, which I think are appropriate. And I also like to throw in a quote. So that's there. And I give myself a credit for the stats. And there's my email. So if you have any questions, you can email me about it. And then I'll give information about the portrait as well. Here's one I did for the solar system series. This is on the moon. And you'll notice at the top, I've got the different names of the moon in Greek and Latin and Babylonian. And then there's the 10 of the bigger features of the moon, including a couple of craters, Tycho and Copernicus, and then the numbers to identify so you can find them. And then there's the name there on the information on the back, type of object. Where is it? It orbits the Earth. Oh, I forgot to capitalize E for drat. So that's how old I am. Best viewing time. I basically go through the waxing and waxing phases of the moon. And then comments are there below. Furthest and closest points made of rock similar to Earth, diameter. What else? And then, Larry Schilder, who is in the local astronomy club, he took the picture. So I gave him a credit along with the club itself, Treasure Coast Astronomy, and I include their website, .org. And then a little plug at the bottom saying, visit the Hallstrom Planetarium. And then there's our college's website. Here is one from deep space. This is the Orion Nebula M42. And it's an emission nebula, and it tells you where to find it. The best viewing time for it is there. And a few more factoids about it. Again, Gary Starkweather, who's now out in WAC country. He's out in Arizona now, where the skies are clear and he's having some beautiful viewing. But when he was here in Florida. He made this image out of Kissimmee Prairie, I think. Here is one of Ursa Major. Now I found these, I have a set of these cards from the book Urania's Mirror that was put out in 1824. Aspen did the work for it, and that's also public domain. And just some facts, little practical things and so on. Here is, by the way, some of the, besides the constellation mythological storybook figures, we try to do little star guides. You can see here I put in the summer triangle, and I've got the brighter stars, Arcturus and Vega and Spica and Altair and Antares are there. And then there's little comments on what constellations are up there and what they are represent, when best time to see it, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to look forward to doing. And like I say, I think what I'm try to do is sell these as well. The fact is, I actually have been giving out these cards for several years now. When children come in for the Kids Space programs on Saturday mornings, I'll give them each a trading card. And I always used to make the joke about, well, if I keep at this pace, I've got 8 of them now, I'll have a full deck by the time the next decade comes in. Well, it turns out this project I've got now. So now we think, well, we'll sell them for, I don't know, what do you think, 10 cents each, maybe a quarter each. I figured I'd sell a set for $1.20. And then a friend of mine who runs a history museum and gift shop says, no, make it a nice round number, make it $2 for the set. So I figured, so a solar system set for 2, or I don't know. Am I thinking too high? Are these prices too, pardon the pun, astronomical, or am I just lowballing this whole thing? I'd like some feedback on it. So anyway, meteorites, I'd like to be able to sell meteorites in the future, as well as telescopes and things like that, but all good things come to those who just sit around and don't do anything for a long time. And finally someone says, what are you going to do about that? And I said, well, I'm kind of trying to make a decision. And of course, you know, the difference between water and some administrations is that water can always make a decision. When it wants to go over the dam, it will go over the dam. So we'll get there. The flow will happen. Gravity always works downhill, and that rock is heavy. I think I'm going to put it down now. So that's the end of my official PowerPoint slideshow presentation.